Hey folks, I'm back. Just at a friend's place here, and I recorded a video August the 5th, 2024. It's been up on YouTube, but I haven't put it public yet. Been procrastinating about doing that. Something has been turbing me about it. So anyway, I was at a friend's place here today. Well, that's where I am right now. Thought I'd do a little amendment to that video before I release that video, which will be part of this clip you're looking at here now. So it's going to be a little bit over half an hour. First off, in that video, it's primarily about power of attorney and principal and agent and representation. And actually, I just had a conversation with one of our Reclaiming Securities people here today, and he was sharing a story with me with a fellow who was watching our videos on YouTube. He was under the gun with CRA, being pressured to go bankrupt, and he got a copy of long form registration of live birth, and basically went in there with that, said some things with respect to that, and then he was revoking any, a power of attorney. And well, things have been going well for him ever since, and I'll leave it at that. People need to look into these things themselves. So during this video, you're going to hear me say, you got to do this, you got to do that. Forget that I said you got to do this, you got to do that. What I should have said was, this is what I would do. So I'm not telling you what to do, and you got to think it through with respect to the power of attorney, and also with the power of attorney. You don't necessarily have to revoke 100%. Like any power of attorney, you can put specific terms down, right? Yeah, you have power of attorney to this extent. Maybe you want to revoke it completely, depending on your circumstances, depending on your understanding. But perhaps you only want to amend it from a general, as you'll hear in the video, to a specific power of attorney. Okay, I'm authorizing you to revoke any and all general power of attorney, and this is your specific power of attorney. And I'm talking mainly with politicians, for example, as you'll learn about in the video. If you don't already know, if you vote, you grant them power of attorney. And even if you didn't vote, it's assumed and presumed that you did that. But the main thing that's been bugging me about that video is, like I say, it's in there. I say, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, you got to do that. Take out that phrase and just put in there, it's me speaking. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. And with respect to the power of attorney, and that's primarily what that video is about. Anytime you're involved in any kind of proceeding and they're, administering over you, telling you what to do, and which includes your estate, that's evidence they've got power of attorney. And when you revoke the power of attorney, you put your kibosh on that. And I'll leave that in the rest of the video here to follow, which is about another half hour. Fairly detailed, a little bit repetitive, but it's got to be pounded into people's heads. It's happening not just when you're voting, but in particular when you're voting. So anyhow, but without any further ado, I'll stop here and I'll add this to that video that was already recorded August 5th. I'll make it one, and I'll re-upload it to YouTube. So that's what you're going to see when you get that. Thank you so much. God bless. Love you. Ciao for now. Later, God never fails. Not possible. Hey folks, I'm back. And do something a little bit off topic today. It is related to reclaiming securities, but not specifically. It's more of a general thing. All of us are born into this planet, into a system where people vote for people to put people into power, into office, to government for whatever purposes. But what people need to realize is when you vote, or it's presumed you voted, you have in fact granted power of attorney to the elect. Meaning, it's the same as a lawyer. You hire a lawyer to represent you in court, to represent you in court. He's not you, but he's acting as if you. And everything he says in that court is binding on you, the principal, the one who granted the power to be represented, to have him be your agent. So it's a principal agent situation. And all the politicians, the elected ones, will say, I represent the people. Representative, get it? It's the same thing. So when you vote, or it's presumed you voted, or it's presumed that you've granted power of attorney, these politicians represent you in the legislature, in the parliament, in the Congress, whatever it is in your country, whatever they call it. And they're doing it by your power of attorney. So they're doing everything in the name of the people, the ones who granted the power. You get it? Granting your power to them to represent you. The dumbest thing people can do is vote. Nothing will change. You vote for this guy, he gets in, he's good for a year or two, then you don't like him. So you want to get him out, get another guy in. You like him for a couple of years because he makes promises, gifts this, gifts that, dangles a carrot in front of people's face. Vote for me, I'm going to do this for you. And very few of them actually do what they say they're going to do. The key is to stop voting. Stop giving these people your power. Stop. friend of mine was involved in a bankruptcy proceeding a few years back, almost 20 years ago now. And he was told by a lawyer friend, if you want to put a kibosh on that, to revoke the power of attorney. And he did that in the court. And that stopped immediately. He revoked simply by revoking power of attorney, principal-agent relationships. And nobody in that court had the authority to speak for him anymore. Done, finished. And that case has been in sine die ever since. If you're not familiar with that term, look it up. So the point is that when you hire a lawyer to represent you in a legal matter, he's representing you. And to do that, you're granting him power of attorney. And the politicians, it's the exact same thing. They represent you, the people, in the legislature, in the parliament. And when they pass the laws, they're passing it in your name and everyone else's name. And they're going to turn around and impose those laws, rules, regulations, whatever on you. Take the trucker protest in Ottawa a couple of years ago. I was watching that and I'm thinking, oh, you guys are doomed. You're all going there as Canadians. You're waving the Canadian flag. That says I'm a Canadian. That says I'm a voter. That says I've granted power of attorney. So when Trudeau did what he did, he had full right to do that because he was just imposing the will of the people on the people who granted the power of attorney. They don't understand this. You need to get a grip on this. So if you want to change, you want to have your liberty, your freedom, don't put your trust in men first off, ever. The economy's going down the tubes here, and people, they said they wouldn't raise the interest rates. Well, they did raise the interest rates. I mean, your life is at the whim of someone else, at the control and whim of someone else, people you don't even know. You want to be free from that? We need to stop giving them our power. We, all of us. Let's have a look at the word attorney. This is from the public Office of the Public Guardian and Trustee in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The term attorney refers to the person or persons you have chosen to act on your behalf to represent you as if you. The person does not have to be a lawyer. That kind of connects with our reclaiming of securities and the tricks, traps, and deceptions. And all elected politicians will say they represent the people, which is the voter. And even if you haven't voted, it doesn't matter. There's a presumption that you've granted power of attorney. Why? Because you didn't specifically say, I don't give you my power. So you be the principal and the MP or the member of provincial parliament or the member of federal parliament is the agent who represents the voter, you in the legislature and the parliament. Whatever takes place there is binding on the principal, you, the one who granted the power. This is what representation means in that context, and it's the same when one hires a lawyer to represent him in court. The lawyer represents his principal. He speaks for his principal, you, and whatever the lawyer says is binding on the principal, you, the one who granted the power. In both situations, one grants power of attorney, and the actions of the agent are binding on the principal, you, the one who granted the power. So long as the lawyer or the MP or MPP has or presumes to have your power of attorney to act for you, to represent you in the legislature and the parliament, their laws, rules, and regulations are binding on you, the principal, the one who granted the power, to be represented. If I can't do it, you speak for me. See, we're all born into this, and this has to cease and desist. And the sooner it stops, the sooner we'll have our freedom back from these. I'm not going to say. I'll leave my opinions to myself. In other words, it is presumed everyone has granted power of attorney in absence of evidence that proves the contrary. But there is a way out, and I already touched on it. Take back the power to rule over you. First off, do not vote. Remove the name from the voter roll. Give notice to the representative, whether it be a lawyer or the member of provincial parliament or member of federal parliament. He does not speak for you. He does not represent you. And you need to specifically give notice that you're terminating, canceling, revoking the power of attorney. Here's something from the Power of Attorney Act from Ontario, Canada. Listen to this. Where a power of attorney is terminated or revoked or becomes invalid, any subsequent exercise of the power by the attorney, your agent, is valid and binding as between the donor or the estate of the donor and any person, including the attorney, who acted in good faith and without knowledge of the termination, revocation, or invalidity. So you see, until you say something like my friend did in the bankruptcy court, where he specifically canceled or revoked the power of attorney, which had an immediate effect, until you do that specifically and give them notice, you walk right into their office, an MPP, or wherever your elected representatives, wherever you are, be it municipal, federal, state, provincial level, whatever. And just go in there and tell them, no, you don't represent me. Here's a revocation, termination of the power of attorney. You think you represent me? You don't. You don't. I speak for myself. You don't represent me. So that way, it has to be in a, one or two, that's fine and dandy. But if you want to stop the nonsense, clearly what's the nonsense that's going on the planet, all of these politicians have your power to rule over you and do what they do. It doesn't matter who the puppet master is, as long as you're on that end of the stick, the principal granting the power, you're subject to their will, to the will of the legislature, to the will of the people, which is, the parliament, which is really the will of the people. Even though you might not agree with it, because you've got representation, you might not agree that the lawyer agrees to put you to jail for 10 years, but that's what's going to happen. It is what it is. So you need to think seriously about this. Understand that when somebody's representing you, there's a power of attorney. You've got to grant that power of representation. That's power of attorney. That's what it is. No ifs, ands, buts, or maybes. So continuing to elect new members for parliament, provincial legislature, whatever, municipal governments, whatever, wherever you are on the planet, it's just going to keep you bound under them. There's no freedom to be had there. And this whole democracy thing is a sham. I know we've all been brainwashed to think this is the only way it is. We got to vote. Everybody's got to vote. If you don't vote, you can't complain. Well, I don't vote, but I can complain about all the people who vote idiots into power. George Carlin. I get nothing from the government. I want nothing from the government. I have nothing to do with the government. Zero. So maybe there was a time when they actually did, when they represented the people, they served the people, but that is not the case. You guys are out there saying, well, we elected them and he's turning around and doing all this stuff to us. Because they got your power of attorney. They can do whatever they want. And their puppet masters say to do this and do that, they're going to do it. And you're the one that granted the power and they're going to do it to you. So you need to think about this, to consider revoking, terminating, canceling any concept or presumption or assumption, whatever, you've granted somebody the power to represent you. You've got to cancel, specifically give notice to void, cancel, terminate, revoke that power of attorney. Everybody. Otherwise, they're going to continue to do what they do. There was a case in Alberta, Canada here. I think I got it here in front of my face, yes. This is back in 1990. The defendant was J. Wilton Littlechild. He was an MP, member of federal parliament. And the constituent, by the way, in their world, is you, the voter, the principal, who has granted the power. So when you think, I'm the principal, I'm the boss, but if you've granted power of attorney, no, you're not the boss. You've got representation. He's speaking, he's appearing as if you, whether it be in like I say, in the court, in the provincial legislature, in the municipal offices or council meetings, or at the federal parliaments. They've got your power. So this guy was elected on the basis he was not going to vote for GST back in 1990 when they were bringing that in here in Canada. Well, he got elected and he immediately voted for GST. He did the exact opposite of what he said. So he lied through his teeth to get elected. And the thing is, and the court said, he got no recourse against this guy. And the reason you got no recourse is because unknown to you, you granted power of attorney. You got to cancel, terminate, revoke the power of attorney, specifically in writing. Here it is. Not hearsay, not talk, evidence. You need to have that evidence that you've done that and put it in front of their face to your local member of provincial parliament, your member of federal parliament, MPs, and your local municipal government. If you don't want to be ruled over, that's what you got to do. I'm not saying that's the only thing, and this is all food for thought for you guys to think this through. Just understand that when somebody's representing you, taxation without representation sounds like a good thing. It's not. You're granting power of attorney. Like I said, when you hire a lawyer and he's speaking for you in the court, you have granted him power of attorney. You're the principal, he's the agent, and whatever the agent does is binding on the principal, right? If you're not sure about that, study up on principal-agent relationships, how that works. Just going to pause here for a second. It's the exact same thing with the politicians, the people you elect. And again, even if you don't vote, there's an assumption, a presumption. Trude is on the TV all the time speaking for Canadians just want this, Canadians want that. I don't think he's ever talked to a single solitary Canadian, but he can make it up because he's got power of attorney. So as long as you people all sit there silent and continue to play the game, no, this is a democracy. We got to hold up the democracy. We got to vote this guy in because he's better than that guy. And I've been on this planet for 66 years, and it's been the same shit show from the beginning. It's never changed. People vote for a guy because they like him, and they don't like him, so they vote him out and bring a new guy in because they like him. And then eventually they don't like him, and they get him out and bring a new guy in. And round and round and round it goes, and nothing changes. You want to get the change here? Stop voting and revoke the powers of attorney. Think about it. I'm not telling you what to do here, but hopefully you're understanding what I'm saying here, where they're getting the power to do to the people what they do to the people. They're getting, it's your power that you've authorized them to do this, whatever it is, whatever it is. If they were to pass a new law tomorrow in the name, in the parliament, the legislature, the Congress, whatever it is, wherever you are, it's going to be binding on you unless you say otherwise. You got to make it clear to them, no, you don't represent me in there. Mr. MP, you don't represent me in the legislature, in the parliament. Mr. MPP, you don't represent me in the provincial legislature. Mr. Councillor, you don't represent me in the council meetings at the local municipality. Or no. But you got to terminate it according to the rules that they recognize. Because it's binding on them, right? So where a power of attorney, let's say this again, where a power of attorney is terminated or revoked or becomes invalid, any subsequent exercise of the power by the attorney is valid, and binding is between the donor, meaning the principal, or the estate of the donor, and any person, including the attorney. Could be a politician, could be the lawyer, could be your friend, power of attorney, right? Who acted in good faith and without knowledge of the termination, revocation, or invalidity. Without knowledge. So you got to give them the knowledge. You got to put it in front of their face. No, you don't speak for me in the legislature. You don't speak for me in the parliament. Here's the notice. I void, cancel, terminate power of attorney. Look up the words representation, constituent, constituency, principal, agent. Look those things up. Understand what you're involved in here. And stop giving these people your power. We are collectively, we have the power of the people collectively. All of that power from power of attorney goes into the parliaments and into the legislature. That's a lot of power, right, from all the people. They're using that power, imposing the laws on the very same people because you asked for it, knowingly or unknowingly. You said, yep, you're my representative. Bang. You go to political rallies, all this sort of stuff. Look, this comes down to this. And I know some people aren't going to like this, but God is the owner, is the ruler, and God is what it means to you. I have my knowingness what God is. I'm not here to preach to anybody, and this has got nothing to do with religion. But either we put our Psalms 118:8, put your confidence in God, don't put your trust in man. All men fall short. Every single one. And you go in the Bible, yeah, God said, oh, I'm going to appoint him a king. Well, he screwed up. Out, another one then comes in. He screwed up, another one comes in. All men fall short. So put your trust in the right place, and other men is not it. I'm not saying there's not good people out there. That's not the point. But in my experience is there has never been a politician that has ever done right by the people. In 66 years, never once. Oh, they say they got all kinds of lip service. Round and round it goes, and people go, yeah, just like the guy in the church, the priest there, he gives all kinds of, from the Bible. Sounds really good, but what the heck did he just say? I don't know. What's it mean? I don't know. Sounded good, though. Walk out of the church feeling really good, right? I went to church today. What changed? Nothing. What you mumbo jumbo. It just saddens me in a way to see what's going on out there, and people don't understand how it is a few people can rule over a whole bunch of people. It's because a whole bunch of people gave their power to a few people to rule over them through the power of attorney, or to speak for them, or to act for them, to represent. Get it? Represent. The lawyer in the court's not me, but he's representing as if me. If you hire a lawyer, same with the politicians, the MPs, the MPPs, whatever they're called out there in the country where you're at. So I'm asking you give this some serious consideration. Everybody. So when the truckers had their protests in Ottawa, I could see it coming. With Trudeau there, the people didn't understand. They thought, I get it's all peaceful and all that sort of stuff, but it doesn't matter. You granted power of attorney. They didn't like what you were doing, so they got the RCMP and other guys in there, the thugs, to take care of the people. Get them out of here. You don't even have to be there. It's their laws, rules, and regulations are imposed on you because the presumption is you have granted power of attorney. Now, if you remove that power of attorney, they no longer have your power. They no longer can impose that stuff on you. Now you need to do your research on this and satisfy and find out for yourself what I'm telling you here. But that's how it works. Representation. Principal, agent, constituent, constituency. Here. Constituent. This is from Webster's Dictionary. One who authorizes another to act as agent. The principal. So it's the principal that's authorizing someone else to act as his agent. And of course, what the agent does on behalf of the principal is binding on the principal, right? But it's been a blank power of attorney. There's been no, I'm giving you a power of attorney to do this, this, and that, but not that. There's nothing specific. It's a general, it's a wide open power of attorney. So whatever these politicians do when they go in the legislatures and the parliaments, it's all binding on the people that granted the power of attorney, or it's presumed they granted power of attorney. In other words, until you revoke, terminate, cancel, invalidate, void that power of attorney, they've got the power of attorney. They are using your power, the power of the people, against the people. That's how it is. Like it or not. That's how it is. So this, like I say, I know I'm being repetitive here, rambling on, because this whole thing irks me and has irked for me for a long time that people don't get what's going on there. So I'm doing this to hopefully get people at least thinking. Why is all this? How is it we put them in the power to serve us, but they serve us for the ways we don't like? They can do whatever they want because you give them a blank power of attorney. We don't need those guys. We can look after ourselves. Before there was governments, human governments and politicians, how the heck do we all get along on this planet? There's no such thing. But yeah, we're still here. It's not like we killed each other, not like we died. You turn on the TV, it's the politicians that are raising the issues of racism and all that sort of stuff. It's not amongst the people for the most part. I never heard anyone call us somebody from a different color, any racial remarks. Nothing. It's all on the TV. They see it's divide and conquer. They need us to think we need them. And they're going to fix the problems. So you got to vote for them to fix the problems. But it's like Frederick Bastiat said, they are the problem. The politicians are the problem. It's not you and I, it's them. All this warmongering stuff going on the planet. Who here wants to go to war, especially when other people are making, you want to go over and get blown to bits while other people are making money? Never made any sense to me. Yeah, people line up to go to war, to get shot, imprisoned, maimed. And other people are making lots of money on the war machine. This makes no sense. It's time to wake up from the nonsense, I propose. You said before in one of the previous videos, governments bring nothing to the table. The farming, the food, this idea, that idea that turns into this product or that product comes from the minds of people. Government never brings anything to the table, but they want to control and regulate everything. And they do nothing. In the beginning, we didn't have governments. We did what we did without them. We got along fine. Yeah, there might have been skirmishes here and there, but we're still alive. It's not like we exterminated ourselves, like we needed to form a government to protect us from ourselves. No. Once we need to stop, we don't need protection from government. We just need to stop giving them our power. You need to take it back, take your power back. I'm not talking about lawlessness either. The laws for men and women, it's in the first 5 books of the Bible. It's all there. Every cause of action that could arise between men is already there. Call it what you will. It's there. Theft, murder, whatever, perjury, all this sort. It's all there. Every cause of action that could arise between men has already been decided. It's in the legal system. They call it res judicata. Already decided. If this, then that. Here's the solution. And in God's kingdom, there's none of this going to jail for the rest of your life. No, that nonsense. Nobody deserves that. People getting 50 years in jail. Are you kidding me? In a box? Are you kidding me? I'm not saying people don't deserve what they get, but nobody escapes justice. Maybe that's a conversation for another day. There is a thing called divine justice, and I know there's not somebody down here imposing it, throwing people in jail for breaking God's law, but wait till you leave this planet in the non-physical, you'll find out. But that's, like I say, that's another conversation. I'm not going down there, and I'm not preaching. That point here is that through representation, through power of attorney, the will of the people is being imposed on the will of the people. So every law, rule, regulation passed in the parliament is done in the name of the people. You authorized it. You said, yep, go in the parliament. Whatever laws you guys pass, impose it on me. I agree with that. You need to consider revoking, terminating, canceling that power of attorney by walking into their offices of that elected guy in your district, your area, Coburg, Peterborough, whatever the district is, whatever your local MP or MPP, whatever you call it in the country you're at, and go in there and tell them, no, you don't speak for me, you do not represent me, and make sure you've got it in writing, in their hands, in their face. You've terminated the power of attorney, and do your own studies on this. Don't take my word for anything here. Minimally, think about it. Voting for someone else to say, "Oh, this is a good guy," yeah, they all tell you what you want to hear to get elected. But once they get in there, very, very rarely do they actually do what they said. Okay, Trudeau said he's going to legalize marijuana. That he did. But look at all the other stuff he did. It's definitely not for the people. So they dangle a carrot, and people line up for the carrot, but they don't realize the cost of that carrot, what's coming after that. In other words, like I said, they never do right by the people. They say they serve the people, and they are serving the people, but they're doing what they want to do and serving it on the people, a right legal process. To serve and protect. To serve you legal process and protect the system. Their scam, their game. It's ridiculous. It's time to, well, time's been for a long time. The time is at hand. The proper way to run a country, to call it that, is to hire these people. No, we're not going to vote you into power and give you power of attorney. We're going to hire you. This is how much we're going to pay. This is what you're going to do. And if you fuck up, you're fired. Done. That's how it works, right? You go to work and you don't do your job, you're fired. Done. That's what we should be. That's how these countries, so-called, should be functioning, operating. You hire them, someone who's qualified to do the job. You know, what company hires somebody off the street to say, here, yeah, we're going to make you the CEO? No, you get someone experienced, and if it's a business, you want to have a businessman in there, right? You don't want politicians, you want businessmen running the business at the head of the helm that know what they're doing. But you want to also be able to fire them. So far better to the future governments, hopefully maybe, and the government's not the proper word, but the administration of, looking after the roads and all that sort of stuff. Sure, we can hire people for that. There's experts for that, but we'll hire them. You have a CEO, sure, but we'll hire them. Yeah, you make sure all these people do what they're told, and if they don't, you fire them. If you don't fire them, we'll fire you. And then we'll fire them, and we'll get new people in. This voting stuff is ridiculous. I get it. It's been around for a long time. It's all you know. And you think that's the way to go, and that's what you hear on the TV, and that's what your mom and dad did, and that's what your brothers and sisters do. Is everybody going to vote? Who are you voting for? Well, that's personal. You shouldn't be asking those questions. That's a secret. Don't vote. Cancel anyhow, I think I've said enough here. Just let me step back for a moment. I'm sweating. The whole thing is really irking me for a long time, and I've been a long time procrastinating on doing this video. And I'll pause here for a moment. Thanks. I really, excuse me, I really hope I made my point here. And if you think about it, and hopefully you'll see the sense of it, and if you need to do some research on it, a lot of people understand it when you hire a lawyer. I keep going back to the lawyer because people can relate. It's a principal-agent relationship. You're the principal, he's the agent. The courts will say, are you the attorney? Can I put you down? Are you on the record as the attorney or the representative? Just, yep, okay, that's evidence now they got in the court that he's got power of attorney from the principal. So the lawyer has your power of attorney to speak for you in the court. Blah, 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 blah. Guilty, 5 years. Bye-bye. See, Mr. Principal. It's the same thing with the politicians. It's the same thing. They represent the people in the parliament. They represent the people in the legislature. But they can only represent you if they have the power of attorney or presume to have the power of attorney. And it looks to me like they're all presuming to have the power of attorney. So the only thing left to do then is to make sure that you make it clear to them you've canceled, terminated, voided any concept of power of attorney, and tell them flat in their face, you do not represent me, period, anywhere, ever. And here it is in writing. Simple notice. I'll read you that again, what it says in the power of attorney from Ontario, last paragraph here, section 3.1. Where a power of attorney is terminated or revoked or becomes invalid, any subsequent exercise of the power by the attorney or MPP or member parliament, whatever, provincial parliament, federal parliament, municipal council, is valid and binding as between the donor, you, the principal, or the estate of the donor, and any person, including the attorney, who acted in good faith and without knowledge of the termination, revocation, or invalidity. See, acted in good faith without the knowledge. So if you don't give them the knowledge, everything they're doing is in good faith. Sure doesn't look like that to me out there, but according to what a power of attorney is in a representation, the principal agent concept, it is. The actions of the agent are binding on the principal. And like I said, this is not a power of attorney where you put specific, he can do this, not that, he can do this, not that. No, this is a general wide open power of attorney. I know you didn't grant him power of attorney to go in Ottawa there or whatever, who would do that and say, yeah, take my house. Throw me in jail because I violated this. Put me in jail for 25 years because I smoked a joint. Come on. Are you serious? No. I propose, maybe I shouldn't say this, but there's the dark side and there's the light side. I'm not saying that who's what here, but it seems pretty obvious to me. I see what's going around in other countries out there. I'm just shaking my head going, my God. It's all because the presumption people have given the power to be ruled over by their agents, their representatives. You may not have intended that, but in your silence of terminating anything, that's what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. That's what it is. Anyhow, I believe I've rambled on enough here, and like I said, it's been something that's been on my mind to do for a long time, and it's been irking me for a long time. And as I see more and more nonsense happen around the planet, and the people just thinking, "Oh, I got to vote for this guy, then that guy's a crook, whatever. I'm going to vote for him." Look, if you just step back and take a deep breath and look and think about it and follow the history on this stuff, pretty well all of them have, they come out when they want to be elected, they'll tell you what you want to hear, but when they get in there, everything changes. And you can do nothing about it. There's no recourse because you granted the power of attorney. You need to cancel, terminate, revoke the power of attorney. I propose. I'm not telling you what to do. So do your own studies on this. Love you. God bless. Light of God never fails. You want to take back your power? You want to stop being, and I'm talking, a lot of people should be doing this. No, we're not. No. You don't represent me. You don't speak for me. You don't act for me. You're not my agent. I'm God's agent or something like that. But no, that's irrelevant. They're not your agent. If you don't want to be your agent, to be represented in the parliament, the legislature, and have all of the will of the other people, and the legislature and the Canadian law, or American law, British law, whatever imposed on you, you got to get out of that club. It's the power of attorney. That's where they're getting the power from, the power of attorney. And you can revoke it, terminate it, cancel it, invalidate it, whatever you need to do if you're on page with this. I mean, if you want to keep voting for men to rule over you, knowing full well by experience, everybody should have experience here now that no matter who goes into power, somewhere along the way, it's going to get corrupted and they're going to start screwing the people even more. And Trudeau here, and it's like shut the country down for a while because of the C thing going on there. People lose jobs, people get fired. Then he comes out with a capital gains tax. They want other kind of taxes. Now they got a rain tax. It's like this is laying the foundation for you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. This is all by design. Well, the power is with us to stop this nonsense. The power is with us to have peace on the planet. Tell these guys to off. Love you. God bless. One thing I just remembered to mention, and that is when my friend did that revocation of power of attorney in the bankruptcy proceeding, the lawyer that spilled the beans on that was put on administrative leave for a year by the Law Society for spilling the beans, letting the cat out of the bag. It's all done by power of attorney, people. And I'm done. Love you.